So if anybody who's watching this video, this is the COPD peer support group. This is the first one that's online. We're going to have a generic chat amongst ourselves. So here today we've got a respiratory physio, a respiratory nurse. We've also got myself from public health, and we've also got another colleague of mine also from public health who focuses on physical activity. So if I shoot some questions at you all, and then we can all just start chatting about anything that we've come across recently, any concerns for patients with COPD or anything like that. Does that sound all right? Great. So, Dawn, we'll start with yourself. How have patients been with you? Is there any advice that you've got?
I think from our point of view, our action plan is that we are ringing all our at-risk patients, depending on the risk and depending on the setup, depends how often we're ringing. So some we're ringing twice a week, others are all being rung once a week. And what we're doing is we're checking that they've got shielding letters and that they understand what that means, and checking that they're set up with things like online shopping, that they're getting the prescriptions from pharmacies, and what family setup they've got, and that the family are practicing, you know, the rules around shielding. As you can imagine, with the oxygen service, we initially started off with over 500 patients. So we've rang every single patient, and then some of them are, look, I've got people ringing me left, right and centre, can you just ring me once a month, can you not ring me at all? So then we've managed to prune down. We left with about 330 patients that we're ringing on a regular basis, which is still a challenge. First phone calls have been very difficult because you've got to gain all the information that you know is going to keep them safe, but then subsequent phone calls have been a little bit quicker. So yeah, it's kept us out of mischief, to say the least.
Well, that's good to know. So in terms of like knowing where people can get supplies from as well, there's also the Doncaster Community Hub that's on offer at the minute. So if there are any residents watching this back, then there are, because the people with COPD are probably one of the most vulnerable people out there regarding COVID-19. So it's important that they know the right places to go, the places to access. So yeah, and for yourself, Kate, is it Rotherham that you're?
It is, yeah. I work at Breathing Space in Rotherham, and my main role is around providing pulmonary rehab for all of our patients, which is normally, you know, delivered in a group setting. So clearly that's out of bounds currently, to try and protect our patients from risk. So what we've been doing is we've sent out exercise programs to all of our patients, because it's obviously really important that they do carry on keeping active at home. Even though they're shielding and staying in the house, it's important that they're not spending all the time just sitting watching TV, and they are doing some regular daily exercise just to make sure that they don't lose all the hard work really from a rehab point of view, because otherwise we're going to have a lot more things to kind of catch up on after all this is resolved.
Yeah, that's so like what you said about the physical activity. It's extremely important that they do keep up with that. So I don't know if Hannah, if you've got anything that you want to come in with regarding physical activity.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously for people with COPD, it's going to depend massively on where they're at in terms of that rehab state, what their individual criteria is and what they're capable of doing at the moment. I know, sort of more generally speaking, the NHS has got their fitness portal, and on that there's some quite nice sort of tailored exercises and really nice helpful videos and descriptions of things that people can do depending on their condition. And it would just be trying to do that at their own pace. And I know the chart physiotherapies I've put out some stuff around breathing and coping with breathlessness, which might be quite useful. And at the moment, we're just trying to pull all of this together and get it somewhere centrally which will probably be on the Get Doncaster Moving website, where people can download this or follow the links to it.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Hannah. And I suppose a question for Kate and for Dawn, a broad one regarding any advice that you might have, or any patient that have been in touch with you both recently that you found there's been regular questions asked to you, anything really that you could put forward.
I think from my point of view, one question that comes up quite a lot in the shielding advice from the government, it says that they can sit by an open window, and obviously what we're trying to do is balance you know, physical activity as well. And I think we've had some really nice days, so it's been, can I go in my garden? And I think, you know, the advice that we've given is really, it depends on your garden. If you've got a nice secluded garden that you can keep the 6 feet away from other people, then absolutely get some fresh air and just potter in your garden. If you live in a communal garden, then that's a little bit more difficult. And if it's a public space that you're having to go to, then absolutely we would say not. But I think it's the thing that most people are asking us, can I go in my garden because it says I'm not allowed? And I think, you know, it's just trying to balance risks and benefits. And I think a lot of them are getting to the stage where they are wanting to get out. So I think it's about controlling that and controlling the environment. And I think as long as they're safe in the garden, we're saying, yes, in your confines, if you know you are 6 feet away from anybody else, get some fresh air, you know, keep active. So, but I'm not sure if that's what, you know, everybody's saying.
I think I've had a few people come to me like that in terms of some of the volunteers that I work with who I know are classed as needing shielding for various different conditions that they might have got. And yeah, definitely people find it quite tough to stay in, and not necessarily knowing whether they can go in the garden, things like that. Like you said, I know they've just put out the FAQs, which does say if it's a private garden, you can go outside, but we've got obviously a lot of people probably don't have that. So yeah, if people are living in sheltered accommodation or shared accommodation, then it is just kind of that sitting by an open window, but maybe just sitting and standing up every so often and doing sit to stand, and just maybe trying that if you can.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's so important that people know what about the gardens, especially like communal gardens. People are a bit lost within the advice and where they can and cannot go, and especially for COPD, it's crucial that you do keep yourself safe, obviously throughout all this. And so Kate, just a question to you as well. Is there anything that any simple exercises or anything that you could suggest people to do, or anything from Breathing Space that you're putting out there at the minute? Is there any links that you may have?
Yeah, I mean, we've sent out a very basic exercise program to all of our patients, I'd say, and then we've been progressing them, you know, with telephone follow-ups over the phone as well. The exercises that we've tend to give kind of so far are mainly seated exercises, just because, you know, we don't know how, you know, safe people's home environment is, etc. So we're just making sure that we kind of cover it from a safety point of view as well. But even like Hannah said, you know, if somebody stands up, sits back down, stands up and goes and does the task, then they're doing an extra sit to stand every time they're getting up to do anything. So really little simple things to increase physical activity can make a really big difference, actually.
Yeah, definitely. That's fantastic.
I'm happy to share the exercise guidance that we've given to our patients. As I say, it's just a really simple seated exercise program that we've given across the board. So I think we find that quite helpful. I mean, it's important as well that they're not not getting breathless at all. Because one of the principles that we teach in pulmonary rehab is that these patients need to be getting themselves moderately breathless in order to make a difference to the lung function. So we are making sure that people are doing the right kind of intensity of exercise as well. Because if they're going back to avoiding anything that makes them breathless, kind of we're back at square one really from a rehab point of view. So
yeah, that's absolutely brilliant point. Yeah. Is there anything else that anybody would like to contribute towards that?
The other side that crops up is the psychological side, and people's coping mechanisms, and being restricted as to what they can do. So a lot of what we talk about is keeping yourself busy, keeping your mind active. So, not focusing constantly on the news and everything that is COVID, but trying to switch off from that and to, sort of look at other ways. We've been really lucky that local IAP team, the long-term conditions, have said that if we highlight anybody that is psychologically struggling, that they'll quite happily support them through this process as well. So it's nice to be able to have that, but it is about, getting the jigsaws out and going back to painting and drawing and things that they perhaps would have done but sort of didn't. So it's just practicing that mindfulness and sort of getting that focus away from, because it's bombarding them, the information is bombarding, and a lot of patients have said that they're sick of hearing it because everywhere's sending them text messages and emails, and they're getting so much information thrown at them constantly that they do need to switch off. So we found that as part of the conversations that we've been having with people, it's been, right, well, what are you going to do to keep yourself busy? And the garden, that's where that came in, pottering and painting and all the other things that they can do sort of quite easily from home.
Yeah, definitely. But it must be overwhelming to receive so much information, and sometimes some different information, because all the advice and guidance changing all the time, and the more we learn about it. On the Doncaster website, we do have the 5 ways to wellbeing as well. So if anybody is watching this video back, you can just pop into Google Doncaster 5 ways to wellbeing, and now that's up and running, and to just get some more ideas as well, and more links to different videos and all different wellbeing links and everything like that. So there's a lot going on for people to support them with the mental wellbeing. But I couldn't agree with you more, Dawn. There's a lot that people are receiving, and it can be a bit confusing, like I said, overwhelming. So yeah, is there anything else that anybody would like to chat about or just contribute to this recording?
I think it's maybe just touching on all the different aspects of the 5 ways to wellbeing, particularly for people in this group who are likely to be shielding and probably at home more than a lot of people, even though we are all social distancing at the moment, around staying connected to that support group and those people that have always helped you. Obviously, us here as professionals are in contact with all the people we work with on a regular basis, but it's not just us that need to stay in contact with each other. So it might just be having that one person that you phone each day or text, however it is that you normally communicate, just trying to keep on top of that. And it could even be an opportunity to reconnect with people that you've not spoken to for a while. And that, again, it's another way of distracting, keeping your mind busy and having a different conversation that isn't necessarily centred around health, COVID and shielding letters and text messages that I'm sure you've all been receiving.
That's wonderful. Thank you ever so much, Hannah. So I think we should wrap this one up now. Thank you ever so much for your time, Kate, Dawn and Hannah. You've been absolutely fantastic. Anybody who is watching this back, you're more than welcome to get in touch with myself and just comment on the video. And if you've got any questions, I'm sure anyone would be happy to help if I send that over to them. But thank you ever so much, everyone.